I'd note on Michelle Obama, can we just note how overrated she is? And like all the hype around Michelle Obama, oh, she's going to run for office. And she's just, I don't want to get into the aesthetics of all of it, but the presentation of her podcast is terrible. She's just whining all the time and she's complaining. Right, again, I'm not trying to look at people's looks. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the whole aura of it, to use a Gen Z term, is terrible. It's negative. It's just kind of her lamenting. And then she's obviously, there's problems with her daughters and all that. I don't want to get into that. But we built up on the right. Michelle Obama is going to be the hardest person ever to run against. And her book sold so many copies. And my goodness, you want to talk about the most overrated political hype of a generation? It would go to Michelle.
What happens when Charlie Kirk's fiery rhetoric teams up with Megyn Kelly's icy precision? Michelle Obama gets a front row seat to the verbal takedown. Her well-worn narrative of victimhood doesn't just get challenged, it gets dismantled, piece by piece, faster than her podcasts drop in ratings. If you thought her stories were immune to critique, think again. This wasn't a debate. It was a full-blown political reckoning. Strap in, this is the no-holds-barred roast you didn't know you were waiting for.
The wonderful Megyn Kelly in the United States. Now, why is Michelle Obama whinging? She seems to always be whinging. Why are things so hard for her right now?
I know. I mean, because when you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling...
Welcome to Michelle Obama's magical kingdom, where being first lady in a mansion staffed like a micronation is somehow an emotional hardship. Poor Michelle. Imagine the daily burden of personal chefs, stylists, chauffeurs, and someone on standby just to make sure your jeans are perfectly creased. A modern-day Rosa Parks, if Rosa Parks had Secret Service detail and a multi-million-dollar Netflix deal.
Is to be married with children.
There are just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like, I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Just listen to what I said, right? Like, it's probably, if you're having some issues in your marriage, it's not you, it's the process of marriage. It's just all hard because guess what happens when it all works out right? You know what you end up with? Babies. Little people with their own sense of everything. They mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with...
Michelle's entire brand seems built on insisting she never wanted the spotlight. I never asked for fame, she claims right before launching another $10 million book tour, gripping a bedazzled mic like Oprah's long-lost twin. This is the same woman who hates politics and can't stand attention, yet somehow manages to host a podcast, headline a Netflix documentary, and oversee a small army of interns posting daily inspiration, like, "You matter. Stay brave."
Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
Enter Charlie Kirk, looking like the final boss at a college. Republicans convention, who finally said the quiet part out loud. Michelle's oppression tour is a hard sell when it's broadcast from an $11 million Martha's Vineyard estate. It's not exactly giving Harriet Tubman. Even Kirk couldn't help but chuckle when discussing Michelle's fear for her kids' safety as they're flanked by Secret Service agents and blessed by Gucci-scented candlelight.
Amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. I can't think of her sitting there just waxing poetic about him, complimenting, he's brilliant, he's a great dad, he was the greatest president, whatever a normal wife of Barack Obama would say. Every time she opines, it's something that reflects poorly on him, how he's insensitive, how he's not a talker, how he doesn't know how to relate to people, he doesn't keep the same schedule as she does, and now we're talking about you can have a bad decade in America.
Then came Megyn Kelly's sarcasm in heels, who dismantled Michelle's victim narrative with the grace of a flamethrower at a yoga retreat. While Michelle lamented the emotional trauma of being asked to smile, Megyn was peeling back. The contradictions like a lab dissection, only this frog has a podcast and a production company. And let's not forget the infamous line, "I wake up every morning in a house built by slaves." Delivered, of course, while sipping herbal tea in custom Ralph Lauren. The only visible chains were likely but sure, Michelle, you were one tweet away from Selma. Meanwhile, Megyn was already unpacking that contradiction like it came with a gift receipt. Michelle's post-White House life. One long TED Talk, with a few Instagram quotes and some well-timed tears sprinkled in. If a luxury lifestyle brand and a self-help book had a baby, they'd name it My Truth. Poor Michelle, forced to dine with world leaders and wave from Air Force One. The horror.
Who vote the way their man is going to vote. It happened in this election.
Got it. Republican women are too dumb to make up their own minds about President Trump. They did it because their men told them to. After that ridiculous, remember that ad the Democrats ran with Julia Roberts voiceover, where the women
I remember.
like secretly,
it's our little secret.
Yeah,
Yep,
this is what they think of. This is what they think of Republican women.
Of course. I mean, look, first of all, just like the embedded kind of just implied chauvinism that all of our relationships in the Trump world are like we tell our wives exactly what to do. It's like, okay, no, we all have agency, okay? Secondly, I just have to comment on this. She's really lost it.
Michelle's boldest legacy move. Turning salad into a political movement. The Great School Lunch Overhaul. A full-scale assault on pizza. She stormed American cafeterias like General Broccoli, waging war on flavor in the name of health. Students were left staring at beige trays of despair, traumatized by kale chips and quinoa mush. Somewhere, a kid still wakes up in a cold sweat, whispering zucchini spirals. Yet somehow, Michelle spun this into a Broadway-worthy saga of moral triumph. She strutted through school hallways like sodium had insulted her ancestors, while kids snuck ranch dressing like it was contraband. Ketchup was rationed. Salt became a black market commodity, and Michelle, on stage in a $5,000 outfit, giving keynotes about empowering youth. Empowering them to what cry over turkey.
Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable.
And then she goes, and then you're like, why? What's going to happen to her girls if they're not recognizable? And she goes on a diatribe about the arrests that we're making of illegal immigrants. And that now we all have to live in fear, people of color, because it's a racist Republican Party that's running America now. That people of color, I guess, have to live in fear because we're all a bunch of racists who made her a billionaire and elected her husband president twice. But we're so racist, you see, we could just grab any random person of color in the street and send them off to El Salvador.
From the outside, you'd think Michelle was saving humanity one cucumber at a time. She turned a veggie mandate into a PR masterpiece, not about nutrition, but about branding her own version of sainthood. Pizza Fridays disappeared, yet she emerged as the Mother Teresa of Whole Foods. Charlie Kirk, part smirk, part rhetorical bulldozer, couldn't resist. Here's a woman who launched a national kale crusade and got canonized as a progressive icon. The school lunchroom became a dystopian test garden, and Michelle was crowned queen of the quinoa. The only thing more force-fed than those sad bean burgers was the myth that she's still battling oppression. Let's be real, if you're sipping lemon water on a designer patio with throw pillows that say breathe in gratitude, maybe don't lecture the rest of us on hardship. This isn't struggle, it's luxury wellness with a podcast.
What an insult as Michelle Obama is silent on the stealing of women's championships from men, as if there's just like one issue that we have to hyper focus on, and the Democrat Party tried that this last November and it failed. As it turns out that there is a lot more issues than that one that Michelle Obama wants us to.
Then there's Megyn Kelly, the human eye roll turned news anchor, who apparently sat through one too many Michelle Obama interviews and finally snapped. She didn't just challenge the narrative, she detonated it. Her message was clear: we get it. Michelle, you're empowered, resilient, and apparently the first person to survive mild inconvenience. But let's not confuse waving from a palace balcony with a tragic backstory. Megyn stripped the veneer off Michelle's brand with surgical precision, exposing those TED Talk monologues for what they were: expensive therapy sessions with a spotlight. And the ticket price, a few $100 to hear someone lament being too admired, too rich, and too well-lit. Then came the book tour, less literary event, more Beyoncé world tour without the vocals. Michelle, cloaked in sequins and dramatic lighting that could power a small city, delivered rehearsed lines about resilience, inspirational, maybe humble. Not even close.
Daily dose of Michelle Obama, who has been out there trying to promote her terrible podcast that has absolutely no fan following. And she decided everything she says and does is a complaint. Everything. And so she winds up talking to Tina Knowles, also better known as Beyonce's mother, about marriage and divorce, which is Michelle's favorite topic, one of them at least. Number one is how much she hates her time as first lady. She hated it. And number two, I mean, you could go either way, how racist the country is and how much she can't stand it. And then we're coming in, at least in the top three, is her negative comments about her husband.
Through it all, Michelle clings to authenticity like it's a limited edition designer bag, too precious to let go. She wants you to believe she's just a regular woman, facing everyday challenges. While vacationing on Mediterranean yachts and hitting Aspen slopes, her Instagram tells the real story. Every photo curated to perfection, laughing effortlessly, strolling manicured gardens, sipping coffee that looks styled by Vogue. It's not, I'm just like you. It's I paid a team to make. It looked like I'm just like you. The contradiction is almost performance art. Michelle has managed to monetize relatability while living a life entirely detached from it. She's made millions preaching empathy from penthouses, dropped memoirs about struggle from private jets, and hosted empowerment seminars behind velvet ropes. Meanwhile, the Obamas rake in wealth like it's a full-time job, while warning the public about income inequality. The irony isn't just thick, it's operatic. Michelle will stand at a podium draped in luxury fabrics and tell the world to stay grounded. Grounded. This woman doesn't need grounding, she needs a flight crew.
She can't make fun of herself. This has been obvious for years. She's incapable of laughing at her own expense, which is an absolutely dreadful quality in a person. Like, I don't think I could hire a person who works for me who doesn't have that ability.
Craig will say that I don't let them tease me. See, we have a deal, Barack and I, in our marriage, and it started very early. It's like, I can tease you, but you cannot tease me. You know, so when he does, I was like,
It's not funny.
wait a minute. What's going on here? And he's like, I'm teasing you, right? I was like, none of that.
Because he likes to tease.
Oh my God, yeah. But when me, Malia, and Sasha all of us are together, he doesn't stand it.
Michelle wants the world to believe she gets it, that she's been through the fire, that she's just another soul craving visibility. This, from a woman whose face is projected onto skyscrapers during sold-out speaking tours. Michelle doesn't need to be seen, she needs a dimmer switch. And yet, the myth persists. The story of a relatable queen who somehow endured the unbearable burden of universal adoration, front row magazine covers, and endless applause, while average Americans juggle grocery bills and rent. Michelle debates which $10 million estate to summer in, then insists, I am you. In reality, she's not a public servant, she's a lifestyle brand. A billboard for polished struggle, styled with Pinterest captions and designer gowns. And the wildest part, people still buy it. Try to challenge it, and you're met with the holy trinity of cultural deflection, racist, sexist, or jealous. But Charlie and Megyn weren't playing along. They asked the question no one else would. Why are we still pretending Michelle Obama is oppressed?
And the fact that she would try to parlay this into like, I'm so scared, but also super important, but also my daughters are brown, so they're also potential victims because everyone hates brown people. Unless they could identify them as an Obama, in which case we'd be fine because everyone loves us. But as you can watch the wheels calculate in a way that just confirms everything you believe.
Every Michelle appearance now feels like a melodrama masterclass. She could be sipping Dom Perignon at 30,000 feet and still lament the hardships of being a woman of color in America. Hardships. Her soundtrack is Beyoncé, her struggle meal, truffle risotto, her protest, private Pilates. But here's the genius. Michelle's brand is an emotional Trojan horse, privilege wrapped in vulnerability, with a side of sage self-awareness. She's turned empowerment into a business model. Let the media swoon over her raw honesty. While she cashes in mid-launch on Instagram, Charlie Kirk didn't rant, he dissected. He cut through the PR fog to expose the formula. Stay on the moral high ground, rake in the speaking fees, and sell a memoir every time someone raises an eyebrow. When they go low, we go high. More like, When they go low, she books another Netflix deal and flirts with Jimmy Fallon in Couture.
She's aggrieved. She is immersed in a powerful and inescapable sense of grievance.
Do you think it's an attempt to be relatable?
No. She's angry. She's angry and unhappy. I've watched enough of her over the years, and then with this ridiculous podcast she's trying to launch, to see she's a deeply unhappy person.
What's happening with people at that level in podcasts? What's Gavin Newsom doing?
He's running for president. That one makes more sense to me strategically. She should be in her therapist's office. Her
invited
brother
me
Craig
on.
is not. Oh, he did?
Yeah, what do you think I should do?
And Megyn Kelly. She didn't just push back. She delivered a roast with surgical precision. She called out the prepackaged outrage, the staged vulnerability, the grief with a glam squad. Because courage isn't courage when it comes with a stylist and a publishing contract. Bravery isn't bravery when it's pitched to Netflix. Michelle's side hustle as cultural oracle means she's always camera-ready with a one-liner for every scandal, tragedy, or TikTok trend. It's like a Hallmark card empire disguised as a moral compass. And yet, somehow, she floats above critique like a PR Jedi. Call out the contradictions and suddenly you're the villain. Say she's privileged. Clearly, you just don't understand the Black experience. At this point, the only Black experience Michelle's familiar with is a curated wine tasting in Napa, hosted by a diversity consultant on retainer.
Is if you add it all up, even the year, if the odds were you're going to be married to your partner for 50 years, and 10 of those years could be bad,
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
Right.
Right.
And that's really how it works out.
Is it, Michelle? It's not. I've been married for 17 and a half years, and not one was bad. I think she and he married the wrong people.
While Charlie and Megyn dragged the myth into the daylight, the rest of the media bowed and curtsied. They'd rather pretend Michelle is one protest sign away from a resistance rally. After her spa day in Montecito, the comedy writes itself. Michelle continues to market herself as the reluctant icon. I never wanted the spotlight, she insists, while signing copies of Becoming, The Light We Carry, and Becoming Even Richer. That's like claiming you hate attention while twerking in Times Square with a neon sign. Her entire brand is polish over substance, performance over principle. Her speeches glisten like chrome. Her followers, devoted, whispering she's so real, while scrolling past her Vogue covers and sold-out speaking engagements. Let's be honest, Michelle Obama is about as oppressed as a Kardashian with a book deal. The only thing separating her from the average American is a Netflix contract, a yacht, and $100 million. Yet she still stares into the camera and says, I see you, I am you. Ma'am, the closest you've come to struggle lately is when the Wi-Fi glitched during your Zoom call. Charlie and Megyn didn't yell. They didn't smear. They simply held up a mirror, and the reflection wasn't struggle. It was a luxury brand wrapped in soft lighting, carefully staged, and meaty